Hey everyone, welcome back to Review Wars. I'm Kyle.
Jay, baby.
And the long-awaited review. You're finally back from your vacation, and we're going to talk about Guardians of the Galaxy 2. What'd you think of it?
Oh, man. Oh, I was really worried.
Yeah.
I was really worried because Guardians is
Okay.
definitely my top 3 movie. In fact, it's probably one...
Marvel or just all time?
All time.
All time, okay.
I love Chris Pratt. I've followed his career. I don't know why. He's charismatic.
Charismatic, okay.
He gets me going in a movie.
Okay,
and
he's a great actor. I think he's probably the top, maybe male Hollywood actor right now. Yeah.
Hopefully. Parks and Recreation really got me. And then Guardians of the Galaxy, amazing movie. People love Rocket. People love Groot. People love Drax. And Gamora was a little let down, but she was still great.
Gamora.
Yeah, but she's hot. And
she's a great actor.
She's relatable.
I really like Zoe.
She's great.
She's great. She's a great actress.
But I think the Chris Pratt was the glue that people really underestimate of that movie. Like if it was anyone else, like would those other characters be so great, or would the movie be so great?
It just depends on who they got.
He was the medium that kept all these amazing characters, and he made the movie a wonderful, in my opinion.
Okay.
So
in the first one, I agree with you.
The first one, I definitely gave a 10, and the sequel. You know, you got a sequel coming up, and you're like, oh, I don't want to overhype it because there's gonna be crap.
Things like that are hard.
Yeah, so I was nervous as hell.
All right. Yeah.
So watching it, oh man, I thought it was gonna suck. I was hoping it was gonna suck, even though deep down I was like, yay! But no, I want to give it a 9. I want to give it it's a 10. It's 10.
You're gonna give it a solid 10? Oh wow,
10.
Perfect.
I loved it.
10 is literally a perfect movie. Cannot get any better. There's nothing wrong with it. That's a 10.
No,
10
one
is
thing you
literally
gotta
perfect.
understand. One thing I understand is a perfect for everything is a 9. Okay, 10 it only means that it's perfect, and that's perfect for your perception or your opinion.
So that means there's no negatives in the movie for you then, because if it's a 10, that means it can't get any better.
The negatives are something that I brush off. There's nothing that is yes, there's negatives in all movies, but they're ones that I don't really care about.
Okay.
No, it was I loved it. I loved everything about it. I loved the dad story. I loved they introduced the dad, and I had a suspicion that he was going to be the bad guy. I was like, no, it's Kurt Russell. He's a good guy. And then they brought in, he was the bad guy, and I loved how they led on in the trailer.
Spoilers, everyone, spoilers are going to be for you. Right.
Oh my God.
Keep going.
Spoiler.
Keep going.
And they brought in the Gold Army, or the Sovereign Nation.
Sovereign, yeah,
and I loved how in the trailers they led that they were going to be the big villains, and they totally switched to and it was just, everything was great. And then Bluefin, or the Redfin guy.
Yeah.
What was it? Gramon.
Nope.
Just say it.
I mean, this is your number one movie of all time.
I know, say it.
Yondu.
It's Yondu.
Okay.
And the father-son relation, or the aspect that they brought in, oh man, I mean, that was great. Especially when Chris Pratt goes straight hardcore crybaby. He's like, no, right there in space, like, that was like, wow, great acting. Even if it wasn't great acting, it was like the perfect time for that emotion that you needed. There was a lot of points in the movie where you're like, well, this is dumb. Yeah, you know what? All movies have those points.
Not in every movie, but yeah.
For me, this was a 10. As far as sequels go, I could say it would be a 9, but for me, it was a 10. It was a great sequel. I am excited for Avengers. I'm excited for Guardians 3. I couldn't be more happy with the whole situation.
I really didn't think this movie was going to be good. I walked into it.
You did the same thing I did, though. You lowered your expectations.
I would try, because it's the hype going into it, and when I saw that Baby Groot was coming, I'm like, man, that is just
stupid.
That was like, that is solely just going to be to sell it to little kids and everything like that. And then the movie started and the opening sequence, and I was like, I love that little guy.
Baby Groot.
Give me that little guy. Come here, buddy.
Dude, when they're pouring beer on him and beating him up, I was like, Baby Groot. Even though I hate the whole Baby Groot idea. I'm with him. It was a horrible idea.
I hated it at first, and then I just loved Baby Groot. Like, every time he was on screen, like, even they said it great even on the show. They're like, he's too adorable to kill. It's like, damn it, he's right. Whoever made him was just, gosh, that is just the worst thing ever. He was great. This movie went a little bit different than the first one. The first one, it's maybe not one of my top 3 movies of all time like Jay here, but it's probably definitely my top 3 Marvel movies of all time. I did notice that they went away from Chris Pratt's character a little bit, and they actually had 2 different storylines, which I'm really not a huge fan of in movies like this. So they had the main storyline with Chris Pratt and Ego,
which was all about Chris Pratt.
And then you had, Rocket and Yondu doing their thing, and it took up a little bit too much time. For me, at least, I'm not a fan of the separate storyline things. I just like it to be one cohesive storyline, like the first one was.
Hard time following along.
Every movie you can see throughout history has shown more storylines does not equal better. They could have found a way to make that shorter and just make the Ego, because I loved Kurt Russell's character as Ego. I thought it was very interesting. I like the fact that they had so many callbacks to the first one. Actually, if the director actually put so many Easter eggs, because he knew what he wanted to do in the first one for the second one, of having Ego there and everything like that.
That was good.
So that was fascinating to have all the hidden codes in the first movie that actually showed the giant skull that they were on in the first one. That was actually
nowhere.
Ego's, nowhere was actually Ego's head from a while back. And then Ego actually mentioning that he was the only Celestial, which means that he was the giant creature who was holding the Infinity Stone in the Collector's vision he showed to everybody.
That was confirmed to be him?
The director said he put all that stuff in there. So yeah, it has to be. Ego literally at least said, let me rephrase that. Ego says in the movie that he is the only one of his kind, which means he is the only Celestial.
No, there's a bunch of Celestials. We know this.
In the comics, there's a bunch of Celestials. In the movies, they have not confirmed that. In the movies so far...
Yeah, but you can have a bunch of Celestials, but still each of them are one of their own kind.
Because
the Celestial is a vague term.
No, the Celestials in the Marvel Universe is a term for that race. The Celestials is a race of people.
Well, in the comics, though, but as we know, the MCU is not about the comics.
In the comics, they're obviously linked. But yeah, so in the comics, the Collector and who you're going to meet in the new Thor movie, the Grand Master, are also Celestials, but
in the comics.
They're in the comics. They're probably not going to be that in this movie in the MCU. They're probably going to be more of a super powerful ancient race. But I think it's just fascinating that Kurt Russell's character of Ego, he's a Celestial. That was his head that was on there at least. That was definitely his head, because the directors even confirmed that part at least. Whether he was the Celestial who was hitting down the Power Stone or not is maybe left up to debate. So I thought that callback, and even the little code at the bottom that says mom plus, I think it's ex-boyfriend equals cancer or something like that, is actually all fascinating to me. Hate as much as you want. I thought that part was good. I thought that it was really neat that they included instead of going all Chris Pratt again like they did in the first one, they gave Drax a lot more lines, which was really good, because Drax, just the dry comedic comedy just had me just bawling laughing the whole time. Baby Groot was obviously great. Mantis is a great new character for the show. I really like that the Sovereign, who they led to be this amazingly powerful villain, ended up just being the perfect race. Ended up just being the most dumb, just the most biggest group of f-ups you could ever find. They could do nothing right.
Whoa. The biggest group of f-ups.
Yeah, they literally even while bringing out the carpet, they would screw it up, and then everything that would happen. And then when they fight in the ships, they couldn't kill anybody. They were just in arcade mode.
They couldn't kill the Guardians of the Galaxy.
You
can't kill Chris Pratt when he's flying a Ravager ship.
Whatever.
I'm sorry. You're trying to stack them up against a centipede against Thanos. The centipede was.
Here's where the negative.
These thousands of centipedes couldn't take out Thanos. These guys are horrible. What?
Here's where the negative thing comes into.
Oh my god.
Not only was it the double storyline, but they had some weird points when Ego finally did turn.
The more you talk, the more I drink.
Turn evil. Whenever he revealed to I guess Star-Lord, I shouldn't keep calling him Chris Pratt. Whenever he revealed to Star-Lord that he was the one who gave Chris Pratt... Peter Quill.
Quill, not Krill.
My bad. Whenever he revealed to Star-Lord that he was the one who gave his mom cancer.
Oh, man!
While that was a big boom, that also made no sense why he would tell him that. Why would you actually bring that up then? It makes no sense.
Because he's Ego.
Yeah, I mean...
His arrogance killed him
but at the same
the
time,
way he talked.
There was no real need for him, even looking back on it, there was no need for him to even have done that to begin with. Humans have such short lives.
Think of how many kids he went through in
the
same moment.
I guess, but he even said, if I went back, I'd never be able to leave again, and, he was getting all emotional about that, but it's at the same time, it's you're only there, he's
literally, he has never had somebody to confide in until now. Millions and millions of years.
He is immortal.
And he finally has somebody who is just like him, and he can confide, I can tell you everything.
They're both immortal. I guess I guess in my mind it was like he could have stayed with the mom anyway because he's immortal. Like the worst case scenario, his plans got offset by like 30 years. Like who cares?
His body would have deteriorated, but
no,
his
he said he had to keep going back and forth. Is basically what he had to keep saying. He had to leave for the light. That's why he had to keep going back. He's like, I never would have left. That's why like he randomly had to give her cancer. So
no,
like,
he didn't. If he stepped foot again, he never would have left.
Yeah, he never.
That's what he said.
Yeah, but he could have just he could have just brought her with her to the planet.
No, that wouldn't have worked out.
Why wouldn't that have worked out? I'm just curious.
Because he had a purpose.
In his mind, he had a purpose, but at the same time, like he obviously loved her. Like you don't think she could have been convinced? Like
he loved the idea of her.
No, he clearly said he loved her, and that's why he couldn't step back.
He loved all of them.
Whatever. No, he was using most of them as sperm donors.
The only argument you have is the fact that if he really loved her, then her offspring would have been the one, and Chris Pratt was the one. So yes, you have somewhat of an argument.
The Dragon Ball Z thing at the end was super cheesy, where they were just like super powerful beings going at each other. The Pac-Man thing, that was so bad. Everyone knows it was cheesy.
It was awesome.
It was super cheesy.
It was
awesome. It was lame.
It's over. It's never going to happen again.
It's never going to happen again. It was lame.
His dad taught him. That was so meaningful.
They had to give him a way to like depower him at the end.
Arrow with my mind.
Yeah.
Heart.
Yeah.
Burst.
So lame. So cheesy. But look, other than that, it was a great movie.
It wasn't cheesy. It made sense.
I thought that, like, as far as like sequels goes, with all this massive amount of build-up that it had, it completely owned it. It was a great movie. I give the first one a 9.5. I give this one a solid 9. I still think even with those little technical problems, it's still a great movie. Definitely watch it in 3D and in IMAX.
Yes. 3D is way better.
It was completely worth it. I know some movies they kind of just cheese you on it.
I hate 3D, but
man, that movie was just amazing in IMAX 3D. So I'm happy I saw it. I saw it in both 3D, and I went a couple days later because I thought I missed a few things in 2D. 2D just was not as special. No. So I'm a big fan of the franchise though. I hope they keep making them. I like this style of movie. I see that Thor's kind of taking the hint from Guardians, and they're going with the same kind of film style with that one of going with a lot more humor.
A lot of people give Guardians criticism because of like, oh, they brought too much humor and they're making them all silly. It's like you have a talking raccoon and a talking tree, and you have to sell it to people who don't read comics. You have to bring humor in.
Well, you have to bring humor in. Marvel's doing a great job now of bringing humor and light. That's just the weirdest thing because the MCU is all about humor and light where, even DC with Suicide Squad, which should have been humor, was really just like, it was a weird darkness.
It was dark.
It was just odd. It was just, everything about it was weird.
I don't feel like complaining for 10 minutes, so we're not going to talk about DC.
No, we're not going to talk about DC that much, but I'm a huge fan of Guardians. I like, obviously, Chris Pratt. I actually like Drax in this one. I'm glad they actually expanded the cast a little bit and actually wasn't so Chris Pratt focused. He gave Drax a lot more.
All about Chris Pratt.
No, they gave Drax a lot more lines in this one. Probably.
Well, they did, but
yeah, no, a lot. He had all the good lines I want to say in this one. He had a lot of the humor. Groot was obviously great. I think in the next one,
should have killed my mother.
I did read in the next one.
Or my Walkman.
I did read that.
You're smiling.
I did read in the next one that Groot's gonna bypass the little hidden scene at the end where he was in his adolescent phase. I think the next movie he's gonna be a little bit older. I just can't wait for the next one to see where they're gonna go with the franchise.
I'm waiting for Avengers. Infinity War, baby!
Oh, yeah. No, I love the MCU. I can't wait for anything that can't coming out. I'm actually waiting for Thor. Thor's going to be awesome, man. So all of it's great.
All right, wrap it up.
Anyways, like, comment, subscribe. Let us know what you think of the movie.
I'm great.
See you next time.